Hi guys, so it's me Nicolette, and today I want to talk a little bit about financial mistakes that we make, that sometimes we don't even realize how important those mistakes can potentially become in the near future. And again, I am not a financial advisor, so everything that I say in this video is not financial advice. If you are looking for any sort of financial advice, please do consult a certified financial planner or advisor. So let's speak a little bit about the mistake of buying financial products that you do not actually understand. A few years ago, I went to one of the banks. I think it was Bidvest. And I went there to buy a financial product because, sometimes we get told you need to save 20% of your salary, and you can save 20% of your salary. So if you are lucky enough and you can save 20% of your salary, the biggest mistake you can ever do is to take that 20% and put it into something that you do not actually understand. You don't know how it generates money. You actually are just this person who's just lost in jail. You are floating around, right? So back in I think it was 2015 when I decided to buy this investment, and they had said to me I need to put in 5,000 rand every single year. And I was like, okay, 5,000 rand sounds good. I have a surplus of 5,000 rand. I mean, if you actually divide 5,000 rand by 12 months, it's not really a big amount of money, right? So I could make space for it in my salary. So now they said to me, it's a fixed deposit account where you're saving this money. And mind you, it's very, very important that you start understanding the differences between investments and savings. Because somehow the people that actually work at these institutions, they themselves don't seem to actually have a good understanding and a grasp of those two things. Because what they will say to you is that a fixed deposit account becomes an investment account. And honestly speaking, it really is not an investment account if its job is not to generate potential income for you. We're not talking about just saving of money. We're talking about potential income for you to be able to see realistic returns that actually make sense to you, right? Now, obviously, at that time, I had not sat down with somebody to say, this is the money that I've got. I'd like to take this money and make it into this money, right? So I took my 5,000 rand, I went into these guys, and they said to me, in this account, you can't add any more money. And I was like, okay, sharp, no, it's fine. 5,000 rand. And somehow, we've got this attitude, Yoguti. If I'm saving some amount of money somewhere, you always think, I'm saving. So even when people are talking to you about saving, you're just thinking in your head, you've got a little bit of comfort because you're thinking, I am saving some money. Now, 5 years is a long time, right? But in the money sense, it's not really a long time. And I'll show you a demonstration. I put this 5,000 rand in, and luckily at that time, the investment could reach up to 10%. Now, banks are very clever. How do banks actually make money? Banks make money because they will say to you, come and give us your money. We will save your money for you, and we will then give you a return. And the return they promise you is 10%. When I come and I borrow money, they use the money that I have saved. Me and a whole lot of people have saved. I'm a 5,000 way too, and they use that money to borrow somebody else's money, right? And then they charge that person 23, 24, 25%. So if you just take the 5,000 rand and you look at it over 5 years at 10%, I potentially make 7,320, right? This is how much I make because it's a one-time 5,000 rand that I'm putting in. I will make 7,320 rand. But now if you start applying the things that they don't speak to you about, things like inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is the erosion of money. Basically, it means that the 5,000 rand in 2018 is not the same 5,000 rand in 2023. The same 5,000 rand that I can today potentially, let's say for instance, buy myself certain things, might not buy those same things in 2023. That basically is what inflation is. It's a fluctuation of prices of goods and services, right? So I might be able today to pay for my cardiologist, because an appointment with my cardiologist is 4,000 rand, right? Just to see my cardiologist. That's how expensive being a doctor is, guys. If you are looking for any career, go into being a doctor, right? For me to be able to see my cardiologist, he wants 4,000 rand. In 2023, it could potentially not be 4,000 rand anymore. It means that with my little 5,000 rand, I might not be able to see the cardiologist in 2023. So they don't speak about these things. Things like inflation. So let's say, for instance, the average inflation over that 5 years is 5%. 5% means that it brings down that investment that the bank sells you as an investment. It means that that 5,000 rand of mine will move from the 7,320 rand to 6,077 rand. 6,077 rand That's how much it will move. Almost 1,000 rand down, right? Now, this is just inflation. So your actual real returns are calculated over the 5%. But let's subtract another thing they do not speak to you about, which is your administration fees. And they make them sound so little. They'll be like, no, it's just 1%. We'll take just 1% for administration costs. Do you understand what 1% is going to do to that amount of money? It's going to bring it down even less. Now, you have spent the last 5 years telling people that I've saved 5,000 rand. When you withdraw it, it looks absolutely like nothing. Absolutely like nothing. You could have potentially taken that same 5,000 rand, gone to a macro or a game, bought yourself a chapisi, a sweetie, a biscuity, pens, everything. Sat outside an exam room. Let's say we're speaking about a university like UNISA that writes exams maybe 4 times, 5 times in a year. Sat outside that UNISA room. Sold those chappies, those sweets, those biscuits, those pens, rulers, rubbers. You could have made potentially 200% back in a year or 2 years potentially. But no, we are sold this idea of investment and savings by these financial institutions. So I urge you, when I say that to people, investment and savings is not a blanket approach. People often look at me like I am hiding some sort of secret about how to invest. You need to ask yourself, what are my needs? You need to ask yourself and get a better understanding of yourself to say, what do I need this money to do? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. What do I need this money to do? If you need that money to double up in the next 12 months, you need to find a vehicle that can potentially double up in the next 5 months or 12 months, right? So it's important that we don't go to the traditional investment and the traditional savings route because that's what we are told. So we save our money with financial institutions. We invest our money with financial institutions only because those institutions might not be able to answer your needs. And it's important that you know what your needs are. What are your financial goals? What are you trying to achieve? I had a little girl that said to me, she's got 1,000 rand, she wants to double it up in the next 12 months. And the first thing I wanted to say to her was like, that's impossible. Then I sat back and I thought about it and I was like, actually, I am doing a disservice to this person by saying to them they cannot double their money because they can double their money. But at the same breath of you being able to double that money, you can lose all of it. So I'm not saying that the outside and conventional methods are the safest way. But then again, we understand that investing is not safe. Investing is not for the faint-hearted. Unless you go and sit with a financial institution that says to you, we will give you capital guarantee. But for a financial institution to say to you, we will be able to give you capital guarantee, you need to be saving a substantial amount of money. We're not talking about that 1,000 rand. You're not going to go and save for the company and say, guys, I've got 1,000 rand and I want to make sure that I've got a capital guarantee. No, you're not going to get it. You need real money that people can actually say, okay, I know Unicolette has brought us real money and we need to be able to give her a capital guarantee. And you must also understand why they give you capital guarantee. They give you capital guarantee because they know they can make money with your money. No one's going to give you capital guarantee because it's fun to give capital guarantee. So it's important that when you make financial decisions, when you're buying financial products, whether it is a savings product, whether it's an investment product, whether it's an insurance product, know what it is that you are buying. Understand how it works. Ask the relevant questions. Ask, how is it going to make money? What? And I didn't even talk about tax implications, but we do know that a person has got a tax exemption up until 23,800. So for this specific example, I didn't use the tax implication because we have a better understanding when you have returns. SARS does give you a little bit of incentive, especially if you are an individual. But there are administration costs. There are sometimes penalties if you want to withdraw that money early. There is what we call inflation. So keep those things in mind, and at the back of your mind, every single time you want to buy a financial product, ask yourself, what do I want this financial product to do? Does it speak to my financial goals? Do not just buy a financial product for the sake of buying financial products or acquiring financial products or going for investment strategies that do not speak to you as a person. And if financial institutions do not have what you are looking for, start looking outside of the box and start asking yourself, what can I actually use so that I can reach my goal? Sometimes, yes, we are unrealistic as people. Sometimes we want our money to double up without having a proper strategy of how.